Okay, this time I'll call this meeting to order, and we will ask our clerk to call the roll and establish a quorum, please.
Commissioner Glentana.
Present.
Commissioner Ashby.
Here.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Here.
Commissioner Hart.
Here.
Commissioner Schultz.
All right, we do have a quorum. Commissioner Stoltz is not with us tonight, but we do have a quorum here tonight. This time we do have the agenda that was put out last week. It's available on our website and Facebook page. So we need to see if there's any modifications or changes by the board of the agenda, or if we have a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Blakemore. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Hart. Any further discussion of our agenda? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is approved as presented. Okay. We have the approval of our minutes. We had a millage rate hearing back on August 24th at 7 o'clock. And so that was held here at Lafayette at our Annex 3 building. So we do have the minutes from that millage rate hearing. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hart. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Askew. Any further discussion of those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, those minutes are approved as presented by the clerk. We also have our minutes from our regular scheduled meeting that was held here at the Annex 3 building on August 24th, 2023. The clerk has prepared those minutes. Any modifications or changes to those minutes?
Yes, sir.
Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve those minutes as presented?
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Blakemore. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hart. Any further discussion of the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, minutes are approved as presented. Okay, the next item that we have on our agenda is a public hearing on ordinance number 5-23 to amend Chapter 13 of the Environment to join a statewide timber harvest notification system. Act fines for harvesters who fail to notify the county that they are operating other provisions. So this was published in the newspaper as a public notice. And what started this is back, it's probably been about 2 years ago. The Timber Association of Georgia, in concert with the Association of County Commissioners, collaborated and worked together because the Timber Association was looking for a better system and communication and make it easier and use modern technology to be able to notify counties of when they were harvesting timber in different counties without having to physically send someone to a permitting office in each and every county. It'd be something that they could handle online through a statewide database and be able to do from their corporate office to be able to obtain those permitting. And so they worked out the language of that, and this is a model ordinance that was put together and was asked to be adopted by all counties in Georgia. So all 159 counties are going to this system that allows timber harvesters to be able to go online, and then that way it's a better tracking mechanism. It simplifies the process. It's really a win-win for local government and also for the timber industry. And it was joint collaboration and bipartisan support at the legislation and signed off by the governor a couple of years ago, but it took a little time for them to get all that set up. So that's what this ordinance is to get us in that compliance under the new regulations. And so this is our first public hearing on this. We'll have a second public hearing on this, but it's really pretty straightforward, and it's just going through the protocols that we need to go through to be in compliance with our ordinance process. So is there any questions or anyone that'd like to speak to this ordinance? This would be the time that you could come and speak. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about that ordinance. Okay, hearing none, we'll move forward on our agenda, and again, that will come back up in one of our future meetings in a couple of weeks. At this time on our agendas, we allow those that want to come up and make public comments to the Board of Commissioners. We do ask you that you limit your time to 5 minutes, and we ask that you focus your comments to things about Walker County that we can have an impact on. We can't fix everything around the world, unfortunately, but anything that you want to speak with, you have up to 5 minutes. We just ask that you come to the podium and speak your name for the record. So is anyone that would like to speak tonight?
If nobody will,
Okay, come forward, please.
thank you. Janice Williams, you already know that. And we're rolling. Okay. I have several animal issues that I want to address, but I am addressing them for transparency, accountability, and explanation. In 7 years, we have had more than 28 animals that are dead because the county did not respond with animal control and cruelty issues. So that comes out to about 4 a year since you've been elected. We had 3 dogs that died that were being run down and killed and eaten by the other dogs. For 10 days, you wouldn't even return a call. Those 3 dogs died. The other rescue came down. I addressed it with you at the meeting, and you said that they had water, and that's all that you could do within the limits of the law, which isn't true. I read you the law, but you argued with me and said they had water, that's all we could do. Your comment to the media on that was, they were running down and killing each other and eating them in a residential neighborhood during COVID when children were at home. And your response to the media was, everybody treats or cares for their animals differently. Some leave them on chains, some even let them sleep in their beds. We saw nothing wrong at that situation. 3 dead animals on that one. 5 dead with, I have the picture of the dog that we got that had a chain around its neck with a padlock on it. We immediately called when the neighbor contacted us. I talked to David Brown. I said, you know, if there's one, there's more. You need to get over there. He went over there, and the woman that was there said, they're my boyfriend's dogs, he's not here. Case closed. David Brown said, there's nothing I can do, the owner isn't there. That's not what the law says. We've been begging you for training for these people. We ended up, now that we have Bailey and Jeff, they went to that residence after a warrant was served and law enforcement found it, and every other dog in that house was dead, a minimum of 5. So now we're at 8 dogs dead on your watch, and you own it. You were on the news representing about our animal situation last night. 8 dogs dead because the county wouldn't respond. 2 freezing puppies. The neighbors called animal control for 3 months, these puppies that were dumped. By then they were 6 months old. Nobody came. I addressed you at a meeting and you were standing next to Robert Wardlaw, and I said, please, they've been calling for 3 months. Your response to me was, if you care so much about the dog, why don't you go get it? The female died and froze to death. We have another dead dog. I got the one that you laughed at me and said, if you care so much, go get it yourself. So I got that one and it went to rescue. That's another dead animal. Then on TV, you spent a quarter of your show saying that I lie, I make things up, I harass animal control. Your own records, the county's records that I had to do a FOIA request on, showed I had never called animal control. You knew that was not true. While you were doing that, I called Chelsea Dill, the shelter manager, and said, what is going on? Why is he saying these things about me? And she said, well, I heard you said such and such about me. You get what you give. So she knew you were lying, and you knew you were lying. You never corrected the record. You humiliated me to our entire community, and it wasn't true. Now we have 153 cats that a veterinarian called me and reported. And David Brown went out there. He looked at her house cats, called her house vet, but never went to where it was reported where 153 cats were being kept and what condition they were in. And to her family pet vet, he said, it's probably a disgruntled employee, it's drama, and he dismissed it. Now, Bailey Clements and Jeff are here, they go out there and find over 100 cats in horrible condition, more dead animals, Shannon. 2.5 years, I reported that. You own it. You own it. So that's more. That's 153 cats. Patty Bryant, I've been reporting it for 5 years. Her neighbor's been reporting it for 6. I've been in her home. I provided pictures. I provided documentation, everything anybody needed. The neighbor provided videos. Everybody's been reporting it for years. Nothing done. And now 15 dead animals on her property. None of these animals need to die. They're counting up pretty fast, Shannon. 2 dead. There was a fake rescue running in Walker County. I called. They're not registered. It's a fake rescue. They're raising money. All of their animals are sick right now. I called Department of Ag because they inspect rescues. They went out there and made them shut down their Facebook page. They weren't allowed to do that anymore. But Animal Control said, no, Department of Ag told them to stop. There's nothing we can do. Department of Ag handles licensable events, issues, period. They don't handle the care of the animals. Animal Control wouldn't do anything. Every cat in that house died, every single one. A rescue had them fostering for them. I went to pick up their cats for them because they were in a panic. The owners got in their kitchen freezer and handed me 2 dead frozen cats of her 5. And I drove dead frozen cat. I don't want to see this stuff, Shannon. That's on you.
Your time has been up for about 30 seconds. You went over, so it's time for someone else.
Can we please finish? No, wait.
Your time is up.
You're accountable. My time is up, but I want your explanation on this.
Your time is up, Ms. Janice.
Mine is, yours isn't. I want an, Shannon, I appreciate your time, but you need to appreciate everybody's here's time who takes the time to drive here. Excuse me.
You've gone over 5 minutes, so you need to have a seat.
I'll sit, but I want you to answer the question,
It's
Shannon.
time for you to sit down. You're out of
No,
order.
if I'm gonna sit down and you're gonna sit there and stare again and not answer these questions, I don't work for you.
Okay.
You
But
work
you're
for
out of
me.
order.
No, I'm not.
You're out of
I'm
order.
asking
Your
you
time is up.
questions.
It's time for you to have a
Every
seat.
time I come up here, you refuse to answer the
It's
questions,
time to have a
Shannon. You're accountable. You work for this
It's time to
community.
have a seat.
Answer for these situations.
Okay, guys, hey, listen, Miss Janice, I appreciate, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm going to. I appreciate your questions you ask, I appreciate your involvement. The time has passed. I would ask that the chairman, at least engage with some sort of answer or some sort of
Thank you.
dialogue for her to sit down and let's move this meeting forward, please.
Thank you, sir.
To address the current situation at Patty Bryant's house, there has been many animal control visits there. We've invited in the Department of Agriculture up there more than once. There's been several past court cases. They've paid fines and fees. But our animal control people over several years was never able to come up with enough evidence in order to get a search warrant or any type of inspection warrant until this week. Jeff and Bailey had even been out there several times since they have been on staff here. There wasn't enough evidence at that time. Until this week, there was evidence. They obtained the inspection warrant. We've recovered close to 200 animals. So we are working through every case that we can get an inspection warrant to get inside these facilities.
Okay,
So that's the current case.
address something
And
that
all
you
of these
just
other
said.
things from years past, we've talked about multiple times.
No,
And we're going to move forward.
You have never responded to that.
Anyone else
Shannon,
that'd like to come up and speak?
Excuse me, because you just said something that I need to
No,
clarify.
you're out of order.
I don't care.
Well,
You just said you didn't have enough for a warrant. David Brown worked with me and her neighbor for 3 months for us to give him everything he said he needed for a warrant, and then he never acted on it. So you did have the evidence that your county requested on this
anyone else like to
situation.
come up and speak? Yes, sir. Come up, please.
Good evening, guys. Randy Pittman, I'm with the Walker County Historic Preservation Commission. This will be the last update I give you on the 160th anniversary of the Battle of Chickamauga reenactment, as it's going to start next week. Ain't nothing to report. We're ready to go. It's like waiting on an unborn child.
What's some of the latest numbers, Randy, that you got?
The last I seen was 2,600 reenactors pre-registered. A couple of weeks ago, they was looking for 300-400, maybe 5 to register on site Thursday and Friday. That may extend. I'd like to thank the road department for y'all guys helping out, getting the site ready. We appreciate that and appreciate y'all working with us.
Thank you for all y'all hard work.
It starts Friday, right, Randy?
Yeah, school day's Friday, and I think the number was 600 students would be there Friday.
Awesome.
I don't know what schools, but we did go to the Walker County Board of Education in their meeting and got on their agenda and asked them to let students from Walker County come, but I don't know where the students will be from. But, so we're ready.
Good work. Appreciate all the hard work y'all have done. I know y'all put a lot into this.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone else like to speak tonight? Okay, we'll move forward on our agenda. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the issue of the budget. We have the presentation of 2024 General Fund and FY '24 Enterprise Fund and Special Revenue Fund for the Governing Authority. And so this has been advertised. We will, let's see here. You can also, this is quite a lengthy budget. The actual general fund budget is 56 pages, and then the special revenue, capital projects, and enterprise fund is another 29 pages. So if you look on our website, you can download these. They're in PDF format. We will be having a couple of more public hearings on this, so this is just really to release this today. But I will say that on the last page, on page 56, our budget revenues and expenses are in balance. It's up over a couple of $1 million more than last year, but we've had different revenue streams that are increasing, so we didn't have to raise property taxes. We only raised property taxes by $10,157. We did have $346,311 in requests, more than what we had revenue to support. So we have had to make a few adjustments, but most departments are real close or spot on to what the request is. So the 2024 department request line item shows what the department requests were, and then the financial review is what it had to take to get us within budget on that. And then on the other one with the special revenues, the capital projects, and enterprise fund, the reason that one does not show to be in balance, it shows $34,434,796, and the expenses at $40,833,759. What's really skewed that, and why that typically hasn't happened before, is a lot of the revenue that's being budgeted there on the expense side that we would vote on special projects was some of the ARPA funds and things that have already come in. They've already come in as revenue, so they've already been booked as revenue. So this was the way Greg wanted to be able to handle that, so we don't double book the revenue. But those different things were just to have a budget and a placeholder. The board decided to have those projects. Okay, next item we have is our resolution. Resolution R3723, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Walker County to declare property from various county departments as unserviceable surplus and removed from the county inventory. Whereas OCGA 369-2 provides for the county governing authority shall have the control of all property belonging to the county and may by order enter on its minutes direct the disposal of the real property which may lawfully be disposed of and make an exact good and sufficient title thereof on behalf of the county. And whereas a number of county departments have requested the property listed on Exhibit A be deemed unserviceable surplus and further request that the property be removed from the county inventory. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Walker County, Georgia, that the property listed in Exhibit A attached hereto and made part hereof be hereby declared unserviceable surplus and removed from the county, so resolved and adopted the 14th day of September. Most of what's on Exhibit A is vehicles, trucks, and different tractors and equipments and things. Rick Carr has put this list together in collaboration with the different departments and has inspected these vehicles and made sure they have gotten the useful life out of them. Some of these Sheriff's Department vehicles, have actually been wrecked. Some of these vehicles are just old in age and there's just not any value in fixing those. So what would be the plan is once this is approved by the board, then we would schedule a public auction that we would host on a Saturday. The county's done many of these in years past, so we've already been in communications with Potts Auction to get this hopefully accomplished probably in late October, first part of November before it gets real cold, and get these items sold and to new owners as soon as we could.
The question, this would be a on-site auction, not
Yes.
online? Okay,
On-site
yeah,
auction
because
with
that,
parts.
we
Yeah.
want to make sure of that.
Yeah, so this would be on-site auction to surplus these items. And, you see he's got some additional information there with the mileage or the hours. And there's a few items with a minimum bid from the landfill on some equipment that we make sure we have a minimum bid on. So call your attention to that toward the bottom of the page. And it shows to the far left the different departments that these vehicles were last used by. Some of these vehicles have probably been passed from years and years to different departments. They were probably frontline vehicles at some point, then, some of them moved to the shelter or to the cove or so forth. So, pretty good list of vehicles, and most of those vehicles are sitting there at the shop and are ready to go. We just need to pull the titles and get it going. Any questions?
No, sir.
All right, so we have a motion to approve the surplus list by Resolution R 37-23.
Yes, sir. Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hart. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Askew. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the resolution is approved. Okay, we have a resolution 3823 to award a contract for maintenance work on the Walker County Courthouse. So we have a couple of proposals. Yes, go right ahead.
Can I speak to that, please? We did have, Commissioner Hart, myself, and the other board members, as well as you, have been working hard on trying to get something moving on this courthouse. And we've had a couple of proposals, and as we've gone through those and looked at them and kind of seen where we were, we thought we were kind of ready, but we've kind of backed up, and we want to add a couple of other things to the scope of this. Instead of taking this out for proposal and having change orders that we can't be sure of, we'd rather add them in and then get a total package price on it. So we'd like to basically just hold, how would we handle
Yeah,
that?
we can
Remove it
just
from
not
the
take a
agenda?
vote on it tonight.
Just not vote on it and then come back with okay.
Yeah, and then-
I would make that in a recommendation then.
Yeah, and the items we want to add, can we mention those
Sure.
as well? So one of them was the handicap ramp, right, Mark?
That's right, handicap ramp.
And the front steps.
Yep.
And the wall that got.
Yep. Because we had originally had them looking at the courthouse itself and the exterior and the pointing and grouting and things like that needed to be done to move forward. But there was no need in breaking those up, and we agreed that it would be best to probably just pull them together under one umbrella where we get one price and we know where we stand. So we're
Sounds
gonna
good.
make that turnaround, I think, within a couple of weeks, don't you, Brian? Should be able to get that out in a couple of 3 weeks and get,
We got to get it on the.
the procurement side. That's what I'm saying. We get the procurement side out in a couple of weeks, then we should be able to move forward pretty quickly. So,
Okay, so we'll just mark that one as no action if everybody's good with
Okay.
that. No action at this time. And then once we get those items added, then we'll add
Okay.
that back to the agenda at a later date.
all right,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, the next item, I'm not going to read all of this, but this is basically, it's really a lease renewal. This is between Walker County and Valley Mechanical for property located at Maple Street in Rossville. This is a vacant lot that is part of the property that the county owns that's directly across the street from the Coats America. Valley Mechanical is a business up there in the Rossville area there off of Wilson Road. And they've just had a lot of growth, and they've had a lot of business where they've needed to bring in a lot of materials, where they needed a laydown yard. And so we had been in a lease agreement with them for about a year, and that has matured. And they contacted me a few days ago and asked if they could renew that lease. But based off of the amount of work that they have and projections, they asked if they could renew that for a 2-year agreement at the same rate. So I had the county attorney, we just drew up a new lease. It doesn't say renewal, but it's a new lease. And this would be for $1,500 a month, beginning on September 1, 2023, which they've paid through August 31st already, so they're current. We go from September 1 of 23 through August 31st of 2025 in the amount of $1,500 per month. And it is just a vacant fenced-in lot that they've got as a laydown yard. Any questions, concerns, or comments regarding that?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Blakemore. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Askew. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the lease agreement is approved. Okay, the next we have is a proposal from Tally Construction for emergency repair on Villanow Mill Road. Actually, I think that's Villanow Mill Creek Road, isn't it? And so this road right now is actually completely closed, so we've got somewhat of an emergency situation here to get this culvert replaced. Our road superintendent, Carlin Bowers, has worked on this with Tally to try to turn this around as quick as we can. Tally has put a quote together. There's a couple of different options there still to be determined whether or not we need a 10-foot by 7-foot culvert or a 10 by 6, depending on the size needed for the field to be determined. So if it is a 10 by 6, this price would be a little bit less, is my understanding, but the 10 by 7 is what's been quoted. But you know, they just, when they get in there and shoot their elevations and make sure their heights and everything that they need, a 10 by 7 may be too big, may be too tall. And so we want to try to put a 10 by 7 in as we can to have a wider opening. There's a lot of water over there. So this is a quote to do that of a lump sum of $322,000 even. This date is September 7th, 2023. And so we'd like to move forward with this, and this would be paid out of some of our ARPA funds. So do we have any further discussion or question on this?
Carla, how long has this been closed?
Around June is when I first started getting some quotes on it. Probably a little bit before June.
Do you have some quotes on the one on Glentana that I've been trying to get something done with for a year?
Yes, got them around the same time, it's 160.
Yeah, on that one there, we're gonna put that on the procurement site since that road is still open and it's not being closed, haven't had to close it, but we're gonna put that on the procurement site to get that one. But since this one is a road closure issue, reason we wanted to move forward with this one.
And I don't have a problem with that. I do know that in talking with Commissioner Blakemore and some other folks in that area, are we not, and I want to get a good understanding, and I apologize, I've not driven up on Glentana to actually to see it, but are we not having to almost cross the center line to avoid this dip? Is it kind of like, what I'm hearing, it's a true traffic hazard. Now, would you speak to that, please?
Yeah, there is a pretty good dip in there. There's some failure of what's going on there. Is there's an older box culvert with pipe has stuck in the inside to widen that road, and there's some separation between the pipes where they're.
So they added to a box culvert. I got you. They put extension in each end, and it's
Causing that dip and everything in there, everything in there just softening up and kind of moving around.
And I drive it every day, and people are going in the other lane to.
And we've got some, traffic signs out there, just letting everybody know that there's a pretty good dip in there, use caution and all that good stuff. But yeah, it is pretty serious situation.
and from my understanding, traffic, and Randy, you're in that area too, but between the school, isn't there a lot of cut-through traffic? I know it's not seems like it's always been a cut-through to me, from
I'd say there's.
a lot of cut-through when the school's back open.
20 vehicles a day there. Probably on a slow day, I guess, 110, 120.
Okay, thank you, Carl.
My motion would be to bid both of them out and approve them at the same time.
So I guess, want to do that, then we would need to either take no action or actually officially table this, if that's the direction you wanted to go.
Question.
That would be holding this project up.
Well, that's one question. How, you've got the stuff, you've got the information already on, this emergency, action, but if we put it out on procurement, then we'd have to go through the process.
And the reason I didn't include it is because that road's not actually closed.
No, but I understand that, but from what I'm hearing, it's a definite traffic hazard on a highly traveled road, and that's why I want us to, I understand the need definitely for the road closure in Villanow. I understand that completely, but if we got a high traveled road and like I said, and we're at 100, what'd you say that quote was, called 100 and some odd?
I'm not trying to be rude at all, but I've been blowing the trumpet on this culvert for a year or longer, right, Carla? Your wife and kids don't travel this road every day. Mine do. These people are going in the other lane. That's my wife and kids that could get hit head on. And I've been blowing this trumpet and blowing it, and I'm sick of it. I'm not trying to be rude, but if this road's closed, ain't nobody gonna get hit head on. I've got people up there that could get killed tomorrow. That's where I'm at.
I mean, if you feel like it's gotten to that seriousness, then we need to close that road.
Well, there's people going on the other side of the road all the time.
We need to close the road, and then if we close the road, then we'll, declare it an emergency situation.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't have come to that. I've talked to you for a year, and Carlin's done his due diligence, but I've been blowing this trumpet for over a year. Listen.
David, just to inject, I'm curious. So, even though this is a situation, like I said, and I'm just going to try to, in my layman's terms, say we've got a place and it starts settling, and it's not a problem, it starts settling. But then there comes the point that it's where it's actually rerouting traffic and becoming kind of a traffic hazard. How are we looking at that as far as that being an emergency? I know, like you said, a lot of times emergency is when it happens and if time progresses, but in some situations like this, it appears to me that the more time that's progressed, the more these situations become emergency. Where, if that makes sense, and so I'll just ask you to speak on that, please.
It does, and I think the pivotal term here is emergency, and we have to look at every road project that has come about on a case-by-case basis. In terms of, I wasn't familiar until tonight when Commissioner Blakemore mentioned, and Carlin described a little bit about the actual facts and circumstances out there. I mean, it could be deemed to be an emergency if somebody is having to cross the center line to get around it. I mean, it seems like the road probably the road needs to be closed and it is an emergency, I would think, until it's repaired. But like I say, the term emergency is a term of art, but as a layperson, somebody's crossing the middle lane and could get significant.
That was kind of what I was trying to understand.
I would think so.
Is that, emergency doesn't just have to happen as an emergency immediately. Like the way Carlin's explained this, where they've done extensions to a box culvert, and they've done some piping or tile extensions, and there's probably a grout joint or something. And so every time it rains, and every time and the more traffic, it becomes worse and worse and worse. So it goes from a point of being an inconvenience to a point of being an emergency when we're crossing the center line and throwing traffic and all. Is that how this has transpired? Is what it sounds like to me, that it started out as just, but it's gotten a lot worse, and now it's.
We've tried to keep from closing it, just later. And we can close it tomorrow, and it's bad enough that we could close it tomorrow.
So with him,
If that's the case, can we not add it on an emergency and just do them both?
To answer your question, an emergency doesn't have to be one traumatic event.
Right.
Like a 3-foot water drop in 24 hours and the road caves
Can you
in.
bring those
It
papers up
can
here,
develop
Tom?
over time,
That
and
close.
at some juncture, it becomes.
That's kind of the way I'm feeling that this is it wasn't,
It can.
started out as a, like a pothole, but then if it gets to where people are literally crossing the center line
Do you
and
have
causing
that-
accidents and highly traveled,
Roads deteriorate.
then it's become an emergency.
Do you have
In
that
my-
other one with you or not?
I do.
Mark, you got school buses that come and go.
On that same road?
That's their main route.
Well, then it just appears to me that, like I said, even though it happened over a period of time, it's at a point now because of the degradation and the water and all, that it's become an
Take the
emergency.
school buses, they're having to dodge that too, because the back tires.
Then we need to close the road if it's gotten that bad.
And then we need to go ahead and probably add it on. Can we do that, David? Can we amend this and add that as an emergency procurement so we can start
There
it?
is on this 322 and that one, this number that I wrote down with the pen,
yeah,
There's-
18 on that one.
18, we get an $18,000 credit if we do the demo on the bridge in Villanow.
And this one
This
would
one we
be
get a
13.
$13,000.
And you got the ability to do the demo?
That one, yes, this one I'm not sure yet.
Okay. The Villanow you do?
So that one would be.
No,
one-
no, the Villanow one I'm not
You're
sure.
not sure about the
Glentana,
you do?
we can
Okay,
take all
okay, I've
that
got
out.
you.
Smaller.
Yeah,
Yeah,
smaller,
smaller.
got some bucket issues and,
Well, my thought
I'm not
is
sure
we
about
don't
the
need to hold
concrete
up.
one.
But that could be determined at a later
right,
point.
we can, right.
You can determine that when we work that out.
And Glentana has also had to be engineered, and we've got those.
Yeah, the
all of
engineering
that's
work's
done.
been done, yes.
So you could move, so I
Yeah,
guess.
CTI Engineering has done the engineering work on this.
Okay, so if we, so it sounds like, and I mean, I would definitely deem it, it's gotten to an emergency situation, especially with school buses and all such as that. So we've got everything ready to move on the Villanow covered on emergency. And my question being is, can we, if we've got this quote and everything's in line with tally, can we not add this, how would we add this in and just do, and let's just do them and get these
Now-
two situations handled and move forward?
Keep in mind, in Villanow, pretty much dry. They can start on that, it's gonna be about a 3 to 4 week build on these box culverts.
Right.
Here, I don't know how long it's gonna take to build those.
6 to 8 weeks on the quote.
Is it 6 to 8 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, 6 to 8 weeks lead time. Now, they make it final sooner than that, but that's what they're quoting.
Is that on both of them,
Okay.
Brian?
Okay, it's
Yeah, it's on both of them,
It's
6 to
probably
8
gonna be
weeks.
6 to 8 weeks to get them both done. One in Villanow, if we get a flood, if there's gonna be water there, that's gonna be an issue. Glentana is constantly running water. When we do close it, depending on our winter, it is gonna play a big factor on how long it takes to get that one done. Just to let everybody know, it may take a little bit longer than what that quote says.
Okay, so my thought process is this, it's like you just said, it could take a while. We need to, if we do this one as an emergency, but we put this out, other one out on procurement, it could take well past the safety
Yeah,
time.
we-
So
if we need to
I
close
think
that
we
road,
need
we
to
need to
close
do
it and do
both.
an emergency, and then we can move on Villanow, and we'll move on. That would mean we'll go ahead and approve it all tonight and get it moving, we can get everything ordered. Villanow's ready to go, and seems like you got the Glentana pretty much ready to go, just weather and scheduling and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Ryan, what's your thought?
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Would you like to put that in form of a motion?
Yeah, I'll put it in the form of a motion. I'll motion that we move forward with the emergency, repair to the box culvert on Villanow Mill Creek Road. And in addition, we move forward with the emergency repair on the culvert on Glentana Street in Ross. So I'll put that in the form of motion to move forward with these two these two quotes from Tally Construction under the emergency procurement.
Okay, so we have a motion to that. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Hart. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, Both of those are approved to move forward. Okay, thank you,
And-
Carlin.
Closing Glentana.
Yes. Okay. All right, the next one we have is intergovernmental agreement, and I will read this. This is an intergovernmental agreement, and it's entered into between Walker County, Georgia, a political subdivision of the state of Georgia, and the Walker County Water and Sewer Authority, an authority created by Legislation Act of the General Assembly of the state of Georgia. The authority is a provider of public water and operates a wastewater collection and treatment facility in Walker County, Georgia. The county is in need of a public water line extension in the Villanow community on Concord Road and Benchild Road, extension to provide water service to its residents who currently do not have access to public water. Attached as an Exhibit A is a map of the proposed extension. The authority has the ability to provide the engineering, installation, and future maintenance and repair to the extension. The purpose of this agreement is to set forth the responsibilities of the county and the authority in regards to the extension. The county shall pay a total amount of $200,000 for the cost of the material for the extension. The authority shall be responsible for all of the engineering, installation, and supervision of the extension. The authority shall also be responsible for all costs associated with the extension. In excess of the $200,000 that is to be paid by the county for materials after installation of the extension, the authority shall be responsible for providing water service for the residents. The authority shall also be responsible for all future maintenance and repairs to the extension and for the required testing of the water. The authority is responsible for obtaining all utility easements and governmental approvals for the extension. The county shall cooperate with the authority to obtaining an easement and government approvals. The residents who receive the water service shall pay the authority for said service and associated connection tap fees. The authority shall maintain liability insurance coverage in the amount of $1 million per occurrence for any and all types of damage, including but not limited to property damage and personal injury that occurred until the date of the extension, providing water service to the residents. The county shall be named as an additional insured on the said insurance policy, and the county shall provide the authority shall provide the county with a copy of then current certificate of insurance. In addition, the authority shall maintain all applicable work compensation insurance on its employees. The authority and its employees shall not be considered employees or agents of the county. The authority shall indemnify and hold harmless the county in regards to any and all claims for damages that are the result of the extension. The extension shall be completed and operational no later than December 31st, 2024, unless the deadline is mutually agreed on to by both county and the authority. Let me give you a little bit of history on this. Back, it's probably been 10 years ago or so, when the county worked in collaboration with the water authority using SPLOSH dollars to put water in the Villanow community. Everybody in that community was on well water. There wasn't any public water anywhere close by, so they collaborated on that, put the water line in, but at that time, not sure all of the reasons, there may be multiple reasons, there were a couple of roads that did not get water. Since then, there is a call from some of the residents, several residents, looking for public water. There's even one resident that has even built a new house, has almost completed, and then they find out they can't get access to water. So this is about a 2-mile extension. The Water Authority has the manpower and equipment and know-how to put in the lines. The Water Authority staff put these lines that were over there several years back. And so this would be the county somewhat simulating what they did 10 years ago or so by providing the material and the authority doing the installation. And so the estimated just raw material cost for the piping is roughly $200,000. The authority feels like they're probably going to have somewhere between $175,000 and $200,000 worth of labor time involved in this. So it's almost an equal split. And then there will be some tap fees for the people that want to connect to this. So this also will help loop the system over there. That will be able to loop it from Highway 136 all the way over to South Dick Creek Road. So that's going to help with any fluctuating in water pressure or changes, or if you had an outage and you had to turn a valve off and fix a line, anytime you can loop a system, you just get better service.
That'll be 6-inch?
Yeah, this would be a
So
6-inch.
that will provide fire
Yes.
hydrants, or fire protection as well? Okay.
Yes, so this would also, because, we have an inventory of fire hydrants already at the Water Authority for county installations. And so they would put in the proper distance and work with the fire chief to put the fire hydrants in to provide the fire protection. So it's really a win-win for the county, the residents, and the system, everyone involved. And this will be using some of our ARPA funds as well that can be used for public infrastructure. And water was one of the key things that was on the original list of the ARPA funds, was for water. So this will make a big improvement, and hopefully they'll be able to get started on this rather soon, and probably take them 3 months or so to put this amount of line in. Any questions?
I got some questions. So let's say we agree tonight to purchase this pipe. It'll take some time to get the pipe, I'm assuming.
We've got some pipe already in inventory,
Okay.
so they may have enough to do the job.
So the installation can start then relatively soon?
We'd like to get it done before the end of this year. The agreement says the end of next year. We'd like to get it done before the end of this year.
So my question is, we're probably not gonna get the pipe purchased over there and installed before paving season runs out.
Well, that's one thing that's driving to get this done
Understood.
before the end of this season.
But I'm saying if we don't,
It's gotta
let's
coincide.
say it's December and we don't have this installed yet, I know the T-Splosh dollars are committed for paving there. Will that money stay committed?
Yes,
Okay.
it will.
That was my question.
Just back it up, you just
Yeah,
kind
but-
of back it up, waiting on the material.
Just like we did with West Cove, when we had some box culverts there to replace, we
Right,
still
okay.
kept that in queue.
Right, that's right.
And kept that contract in place, so yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that. That's another thing that is driving this is, some of the roads that this is associated with are scheduled to be paved. And so they're on our approved paving list, and we wanted to get these lines in as quick as we can, then do the paving, and not do the paving first, and then they accidentally mess a road up or hit it with a track or something on a track hoe or something. So, yeah, it's great point. So, yeah, we want to get this done as quick as possible.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to I think the folks over there are fine with that, but I just want to make sure that if for some reason it's January before we get the pipe in, okay, we're not going to pave till
Spring,
March or April.
but it's coming, yeah.
Right,
there-
just make sure
stays-
the money-
Yes, it stays
Stays at the top of the list,
Yes, it
basically.
does, yes,
Okay.
stays in
That's
queue.
right.
Very good. All right, any other question?
Board members, I do have one comment, and when I prepared this document, I put in here attached as Exhibit A is a map of the proposed extension. I did not have a copy of the map, so we need to do one of two things. We either need to attach a map, which I think would be a good idea since we're dealing with a third party, or alternatively, strike out attached as Exhibit A as a map, because we don't want to later go back and somebody say, hey, where's the map? So
Yeah, we need
is
to
that
add the
something
map.
that
Yeah,
we
that'd
can
be-
do?
We can approve it and then add the map.
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yes,
you
for
can
the
do
record.
that.
Gotcha.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear among the board members. Personally, I've not been out that way, so I don't candidly know where
Great point.
these particular roads are, so I thought, well, as a safety net.
Yeah,
you
we'll
know, let's do an
definitely-
exhibit, but let's.
Our clerk will
if
make
you-
sure we get that done in the minutes before those get finalized.
Right.
Motion to approve contingent on a map.
Okay, so
Exhibit
got a motion to approve and making sure we get the Exhibit A, so do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hart. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the intergovernmental agreement is approved. Okay. Next thing we have is our monthly statistical data report. Just highlight some of the things here. We did intake 69 dogs and 129 cats. Our code enforcement had 301 inspections and 57 closed cases. Our calls for services for our fire department was 530 calls. Our planning department had 36 new permits pulled for single-family homes in the unincorporated area. That's coming off a strong month in July of 47, so it's 277 new single-family home permits in the unincorporated area this year. Excuse me. Also, trying to get all of our potholes patched. We've got that new pothole patching machine running a lot, So 749 potholes. So if anybody out there knows of any potholes we've not got yet, we're trying to get them all patched and filled before the cold winter and the rain season starts up. So please let us know so we can get those done while we've got some good weather. And then our Walker County Transit, 2,625 trips for the month of August. So a lot of people still very much dependent, relying on our transit, and our transit folks do a great job.
Can I ask a question about the statistics?
We can talk after the meeting. Okay, so Commissioner comments, Mr. Blakemore.
Just appreciate everybody coming out and getting involved. Thank you, employees, for all y'all do for the county, and our first responders for all they do. Thank you.
Mr. Askew?
Yes, I do want to give kudos to all the agencies that were involved in this case, an ongoing case of the hoarding case that we dealt with yesterday, and I'm, like I said, ongoing. It's a hard situation for people that aren't trained for it, a lot of people, the volunteers that have helped, but I'm very proud of our team that we were able to go ahead and we were able to get the warrant, we were able to move forward, and that's what we're trying to do, is continue that growth and continue that movement. So I want to thank everybody that was involved and appreciate the support. Thank all the citizens for your support, and contact us if we can be of any service.
Thank you, sir.
This Saturday at the Walker County Ag Center is the Walker County Ag Festival, so come out for that. A lot of things there. It's really neat event if you've never been.
Do you recall the times on that?
It starts at 9.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. Saturday morning at the Ag Center. Carlin and crew and Bobby, thank y'all for the work on Rio Road. I know it's been a long time coming. I know you guys got a lot of stuff to work on, but appreciate you taking the effort to kind of clean that up some, and look forward to getting Tate Road and all that stuff fixed over there. And last thing, Mr. and Miss Chauncey Fowler brought this by on Veterans Day, there's a concert. And I'll bring it up again as we get closer to it, but a pretty neat thing they've got out. They brought it by before the meeting, so look forward to that.
And that is.
What is that, Brian?
It's on Veterans Day, Saturday, November the 11th.
Okay.
It's a concert in
Chris McDaniel?
Chris McDaniel, Mason Thompson.
It's going to be at the Civic Center?
I guess.
Well, this is Lafayette, Georgia, okay.
I think that's Christ First Church.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I did
4 to
it, yeah.
7.
Good deal.
He gives an address, but I'll make sure we get that out. The American Legion's putting that on, so it's the first year they've done this.
Yeah, so
So,
we'll get that on our website
Sure.
and Facebook as well.
yeah.
All right. Yeah, and I'd also like to give a shout out for all the first responders and all of the staff and everyone that was involved in the animal hoarding case yesterday, and also to the outside agencies that come down to assist. I know McCamey had folks here, and Hamilton County Animal Humane had folks here, and there was a couple of others I just can't remember, but we appreciate everyone working together as a community and coming together and getting that situation. Yes, Carl?
Hey, Bobby just reminded me that we just got our plate. We had a pretty good sized steel plate up on Happy Valley when the sewer project was going on.
Right.
There is a possibility that it may fit over Glentana.
Plate that and keep it open for,
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about that plate. I don't know that it's quite big enough, but we're gonna pull some measurements and try to do that.
Okay, yeah, check that and see if that'll work. That may be a good option.
yeah, and if, Carlin, if for some reason that one, it doesn't, let's see what, because that's a time frame, and that, there is a lot of traffic on
Right.
that. And if we even needed to maybe look at that as an option, that's a great idea. So if that one won't, let's see what we might have to, because
Yeah.
closing it could be
Yeah.
would be
The plate that we've got is about the biggest we can handle.
okay.
So
Okay, yeah,
if it doesn't work, then
Then
check that
we
and
may
make sure,
go ahead and close it.
yeah, just make a decision on
All
which
right.
will work.
Or maybe, Carlin, if our plate won't work, since Tally's working with us, they may have a plate we can
I'm
use.
sure they would.
Well, we purchased this plate and it's bigger than anything they've got.
Oh.
Whenever we done.
Okay.
Happy Valley.
Okay.
No, West Cove Road, whenever that culvert.
See if you can make it work. See if you can make it work, but
We'll figure something out.
thank you, Carlin.
Is there any reason for an executive session? Okay, we have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to
We
adjourn.
have a motion to adjourn. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Askew. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, meeting stands adjourned. Thank you all for being here tonight.